Hello, I am here. And I've been having an interesting few days, so I thought I would come on and talk about what I've been experiencing in my little world. Hello, Tomas. Listen to Come Unto Me by Take Six. He's already straight out the bat with the advice. I am not familiar with Take Six. Is that, what is that? Is it a band? Oh, now my cat is starting. Now he's starting. He needs to overcome too. A gospel music group. Take six. I got a coffee. I went out this morning a little bit later than usual. And I went to my local and got a coffee, and they weren't too busy. And it was a nice little experience. And they had some new drinks on the menu. So I got a cardamom rose mocha. And I can tell you, I'm not picking it up, but they had like edible glitter on top of it. They don't usually use whipped cream for anything, but they had whipped cream and they like put it on there, and then the lady, the barista, she got this little pink shaker out of the drawer and dusted it with the like edible pink glitter, and I was like, "Oh my." Like, so who knows what I'm eating? They're a pretty nice place though, so I don't think they would do me dirty. I don't think they would give me anything that I shouldn't be eating, but we'll see. We'll see. I have to say though, she did not make it hot enough. Like as I was drinking, I was like, I'm still working on it though. So then I took my little self to the grocery store, since the other night when I got groceries delivered, they didn't have any chicken, like the rotisserie chicken I usually get for the cat. So I went to this grocery store and they did have some available. So I got him some, and he just ate a bunch, and he's feeling himself. So he's doing good. Not going to stop him from whining though. So I don't know. We'll see him there. So yeah, I thought I'd come on, talk about things, process publicly, share, draw intermittently, see who else is online for a bit. So yeah, welcome, and hello, Tomas, my first commenter. Congrats on being first. If you are watching, don't forget to click like and subscribe and ring the notification bell and join the channel and donate and follow me on Instagram and Society 6 and all of that. Why are you crying, Bebaji? Why are you crying? My cat's crying. He just got a bunch of chicken and yet he's not satisfied. What's wrong, baby? Baby, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Why are you crying, baby? What's up? Where are you? Why are you crying? What the heck? Do a Jim Carrey impersonation. That's, I don't know, Jim Carrey impersonation? Like, that's difficult. I don't know that I could. You won't be here for long. None of us are. What is the difficulty of overcoming the world? It's just like, I think just as soon as I think I'm out, they reel me back in. As soon as I think I'm doing good, they reel me back in. I don't know what it is. Like this week, OJ Simpson, his death, and then I was getting all triggered. It's just like, what the hell? why am I still upset about this? Why am I getting all like upset and like getting upset about like men who hate women and like stuff like that? Like, why is that triggering me still? Like, why is this still something that I, it's like it doesn't always get to me, but then sometimes it does. It's like, wow, like, most of the time I'm able to shrug it off and just be like, okay, that's, them, not me. But then sometimes take it personally. And then it's like also dealing with women who don't like women either. And that's always like kind of weird for me too, because it's like, how are you gonna be a bitch but you don't like bitches? You know what I mean? How are you gonna be a woman but you don't like women? How does that work? Like, what's going on with you? And like they make it so clear um what their like values are, where their loyalties lie, and it's just like dealing with that too. I don't know. This is getting to me this week. I was like, wow, okay, like this is still something that I gotta work on. This is still work I gotta do. Like, because it still bothers me. It shouldn't bother me. I know like that's the hell in them. But like I think with it too, it's just I don't know, everybody projects though. It doesn't matter what your issue is that you have to overcome. You're gonna be dealing with people that are projecting regardless. So Um, alrighty then. I'm trying to think of like other Jim Carrey, like classic Jim Carreys. Who the hell are you talking to? Oh, Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's a very handsome man, I must say. Hero. What else? Of course, not all men are unified in their beliefs, and neither are women. Nobody, no. Happy Saturday. It's not all right for women to not like other women. Actually, it's not. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's really pathetic. And when you're a woman having to deal with other women who don't like women, it's kind of a issue. It does cause problems. It's kind of pathetic and embarrassing, actually. Like, I'm just saying, like, sort yourself out. It's not all right. You should not have that kind of mindset as a woman, as a grown woman. Like, you shouldn't. Dealing with that is like really frustrating. It's not just frustrating. It's also just like, you know, because they put all of that on you, and then you're like, man, how do I address this with dignity and class, and like not let it get to me that this woman is being this way. So regardless, thank you for the donation. I haven't even gotten started, but thank you, Vasco. Very nice. You had an odd night. No, I had a nice night. Went to bed on time, got in the shower. Well, I didn't really get to bed on time, but I got to bed at a normal hour. So I wanted to share this. Because OJ died this week, and that's something that triggered me. So I thought I would share. Okay. It's one thing to not like a certain type of woman. It's another thing to not like other women generally, and to be male identified as a woman. That there's a difference. Women whose primary loyalties are to men, to the point where they'll like um, sell other women out, disrespect other women, be petty, that kind of thing. There's a big difference. There's one thing of like if you don't like a certain type of behavior or attitude or personality trait, a thing to completely dislike other women or to not value other women. It's completely different, and I don't like that. No, Tomas, I cannot. You figure it out. Don't act like you haven't seen these women who behave this way, where it's like male approval is their lifeblood, and they'll like completely disrespect themselves and any other woman just to get a little bit of it. It's very common and it's very pathetic, okay? And I don't like it. And dealing with it as an adult woman sucks, okay? Because it's just like, what the hell are you doing? What's wrong with you? All right, I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. So I thought I would share this. And am I on camera? Okay, yeah. So years ago, when I was a radical feminist, I read this article by Andrea Dworkin about the life of Nicole Brown Simpson that I found really just heartbreaking. I thought I'd revisit it since OJ Simpson died this week. It's been in the news, and it had been kind of like bothering me how people were saying like allegedly he killed her and her friend Ron Goldman, and like anyway, I just want to get into this and kind of like review it, see how it affects me now as well, because I haven't read it since I did years ago, but it did come to mind, like the things I've learned. And so yeah, let's go into this. Yeah. Okay, and this was from The Last Days at Hot Slit, The Radical Feminism of Andrea Dworkin. One before the trial. It's the perpetrator stupid. You won't ever know the worst that happened to Nicole Brown Simpson in her marriage because she is dead and cannot tell you. If she were alive, remember, you wouldn't believe her. You heard Lorena Bobbitt after John Wayne Bobbitt had been acquitted of marital rape. At her own trial for malicious wounding, she described beatings, anal rape, humiliation. She had been persistently injured, hit, choked by a husband who liked hurting her. John Wayne Bobbitt, after a brief tour as a misogynist media star, beat up a new woman friend. It is always the same. It happens to women as different as Nicole Simpson, Lorena Bobbitt, and me. This is the thing about Andrea. She always like, Andrea Dworkin is like one of those figures that I really think people do need to read and kind of contend with, because she just, in her life and in her whole persona, was so wrapped up in that wounded feminine essence, that I do think it's something that people need to confront and kind of like learn about and read and deal with. So, in this, just be sure she's identifying with these women. And like, I think this is an issue for me. It's like I've always struggled with identifying with my identity as a woman, which is again a worldly identity. And coming out of that and overcoming that, while also still dealing with the fact that I am a woman, like it's one of those things where it's like I don't know always what the right boundaries are. So anyway, the perpetrators are men as different as O.J. Simpson, John Wayne Bobbitt, and the former flower child I am still too afraid to name. There is terror, yes, and physical pain. There is desperation and despair. One blames oneself, forgives him. One judges oneself harshly for not loving him enough. It's your fault, he shouts as he is battering in the door or slamming your head against the floor, and before you pass out, you say yes. You run, but no one will hide you or stand up for you, which means standing up to him. You will hide behind bushes if there are bushes, or behind trash cans or in alleys, away from the decent people who aren't helping you. It is, after all, your fault. He hurts you more than the last time, and more than you ever thought possible, certainly more than any reasonable person would ever believe, should you be foolish enough to tell. And eventually you surrender to him, apologize, beg him to forgive you for hurting him or provoking him or insulting him or being careless with something of his laundry, his car, his meal. You ask him not to hurt you as he does what he wants to you. The shame of this physical capitulation, often sexual, and the betrayal of your self-respect will never leave you. You will blame yourself and hate yourself forever. In your mind, you will remember yourself begging, abject, and at some point you will stand up to him verbally, or not by not complying, and he will hit you and kick you. He may rape you, he may lock you up or tie you up. The violence becomes contextual, the element in which you try to survive. You will try to run away, plan an escape. If he finds out or if he finds you, he will hurt you more. You will be so frightened, you think that dying may be okay. If you have no money, can't find shelter, have no work, you will go back and ask him to let you in. If you work, he will find you. He may ask you back and make promises filled with repentance. He may beat you and force you back. But if you do stay away and make a break, he will strike out of nowhere, still beat you, vandalize your home, stalk you. Still, no one stops him. You aren't his wife anymore, and he still gets to do it. Nicole Simpson, like every battered woman, knew she would not be believed. She may have been shrewd enough to anticipate the crowds along the Orange County freeways cheering on OJ. Every battered woman has to be careful, even with strangers. His friends won't stop him, neither will yours. Nicole Simpson went to many experts on domestic violence for help, but none of them stopped him. That's what it takes. The batterer has to be stopped. He will not stop himself. He has to be imprisoned or killed, or she has to escape and hide, sometimes for the rest of her life, sometimes until he finds another woman to love. There is no proof that counseling the batterer stops him. It was Nicole who asked the police to arrest Simpson in 1989, the 9th time the police had been called. Arrest needs to be mandatory. The 1989 assault on Nicole Simpson should have resulted in O.J. Simpson's 9th arrest. We don't know by what factor to multiply the number 9. How many episodes of being beaten women endure on average per phone call to the police? In 1993 alone, there were 300,000 domestic violence calls to the police in New York City. Wife beating is not America's dirty little secret, as the Press and Health and Human Services Secretary Donna Shalala say. Feminists have spent 2 decades exposing wife abuse with insistence and accuracy, organizing refuges and escape routes, and changing law enforcement practices so that increasingly wife beating is recognized as a violent crime. Wife beating is commonplace and ordinary because men believe that they have rights over women that women dispute. The control men want of women, the domination men require over women, is expressed in this terrible brutality. For me, it was for a 4-year period, 25 years ago, in another country. For 4 million women in the United States, 1 every 15 seconds. It was yesterday and today. I don't know where she's getting these stats, so take them with a grain of salt. But I'm sure you, if you're a female, or you know some woman that has experienced this, because it is rather commonplace. What no one will face is this: the problem is not with the women, it is with the perpetrator. She can change every weakness, transform every dependency. She can escape with the bravado of a Jesse James or the subtle skill of a Houdini. But if her husband is committed to violence and she is not, she cannot win her safety or her freedom. The current legal system, victim advocates, counseling, cannot keep her face in the safe of his aggression. Accounts of wife beating have been typically met with incredulity and disdain, best expressed in the persistent question, why doesn't she leave? But after 2 decades of learning about battery, we now know that more battered women are killed after they leave than before. Nicole Simpson was living in her own home when she was murdered. Her divorce had been finalized in 1992. Whether or not her ex-husband committed the murder, he did continue to assault her, threaten her, stalk her, intimidate her. His so-called desire for reconciliation masks the awfulness of her situation. The same for every woman who escapes but does not disappear. Having ended the marriage, Nicole Simpson still had to negotiate her safety with the man who was hurting her. She had to avoid angering him. Any hint that her amiability was essentially coerced, any threat of public exposure, any insult to his dignity from his point of view might trigger aggression. This cause and effect scenario is more imagined than real, since the perpetrator chooses when he will hurt or threaten or stalk. Still, the woman tries. All the smiling photographs of them together after the divorce should evoke alarm, not romantic descriptions of his desire to reconcile. I mean, yeah, okay, so like when this was going on, like they used pictures of them like after their divorce together where she's smiling in the photo. And again, this is before like modern technology where everybody has a camera on them, and taking a picture was like a, you know, it was an event. It was something that happened around events, you know, that these were being used to like negate the idea that he was this violent man who was like intimidating this woman and had been abusing her for years. Anyway, this is stupid. It's so stupid. It's just mind-blowing to me. And then I hear like people talk about like, I remember this woman who was being interviewed about being like drugged and sexually assaulted at like a high school party. Like somebody slipped something in her drink and then she woke up to him like in her basically. And she was giving the account and she was just kind of like very, the way she was expressing herself was very like calm demeanor, very matter of fact. And I remember people were like, no way, if she was really raped, then she would be crying and hysterical, like several years down the line, for one. But also it's just like, you really don't know. There's a myriad of ways that women handle that. And a lot of the times women like don't react that way. It's like, there's no understanding of how people like have to survive when they go through these experiences. It's just incredible to me. And a lot of women falter to this kind of fawning or like appeasement, or like, you know, that is easier for them than to like fight or you know, be hysterical, because you can't live your life that way and life goes on. It's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things. And again, it's one of those things that when I confront it now, even though I'm like not a feminist anymore and I don't view the world this way of like man versus woman anymore, I still kind of have that pause of like, excuse me, I have that like pause in me of like just remorse and distress that there's still a lack of understanding. And I don't know how to make understanding happen. You know, like I can't I don't understand what life is like for a man, and I don't think men understand what life is like for a woman. It's something you kind of have to experience, but I just wish that we like, and at least I guess as a woman, I wish that men would listen more and speak less when it comes about talking about like an experience that they don't have, or judging a woman based on what he perceives about her. Because honestly, like there's no one, every woman's different, every woman's going to react differently, but there are also these patterns of behavior that are pretty clear and obvious. So anyways, let's move on, let's get back to this. I am finding like when I'm reading this, it's just like I'm back into Andrea Dworkin, and like her language is so emotional. Like she really had a lot of that. She really lays it on thick. So I'm sorry, this is kind of thick. And she is just kind of talking about, she's putting a lot of stuff into this situation. And I'm, recognizing as I'm reading it that she is kind of spinning her own narrative here about what happened. Because I don't know what happened. I don't know the full details. I do know that there is a paper trail that Nicole left of seeking help and telling people about what she was experiencing from her ex-husband. I know that, and that to me says enough. But anyway, so take some of this with a grain of salt. Okay. Where was I? So let's just start at the top here. She had to avoid angering him. Any hint that her amiability was essentially coerced, any threat of public exposure, any insult to his dignity from his point of view might trigger aggression. This cause and effect scenario is more imagined than real, since the perpetrator chooses when he will hurt or threaten or stalk. Still, the woman tries. All the smiling photographs of them together after the divorce should evoke alarm, not romantic descriptions of his desire to reconcile. Nicole Simpson followed a strategy of appeasement because no one stood between her and him to stop him. Escape, in fact, is hell, a period of indeterminate length reckoned in years, not months, when the ex-husband commits assaults intermittently and acts of terrorism with some consistency. Part of the torment is that the freedom is near, but he will not let the woman have it. Many escaped women live half in hiding. This is true. This is true. I have met a lot of women who, like, they don't have any social media. Or if they do, it's all like, a sock account because they're hiding from an ex. It's like weird to like actually meet women and to know them and to know that it's something that they're going through. I am still afraid of my ex-husband each and every day of my life, and I am not afraid of much. Okay, I mean, so you have to think or understand here too, like Andrea was a victim of domestic violence as well. Pardon me. Maybe you don't know how brave women are. The ones who have stayed until now and the ones who have escaped, both the living and the dead. Nicole Simpson is the hero. The perpetrator is the problem, stupid. During the trial, in Nicole Brown Simpson's words, words matter. O.J. Simpson's defense team asked Judge Lance A. Ido to order the prosecution to say domestic discord rather than domestic violence or even spousal abuse, already euphemisms for wife beating, and to disallow the words battered wife and stalker. Ido refused to alter reality by altering language, but some media complied. For example, Rivera Live. Rivera, is that like Geraldo Rivera? Where domestic discord became a new term of art. The lawyer who successfully defended William Kennedy Smith on a rape charge also used that term systematically. Domestic discord. Oh dear. Where is the victim's voice? Where are her words? I'm scared, Nicole Brown told her mother a few months before she was killed. I go to the gas station, he's there. I go to the Payless shoe store, and he's there. I'm driving, and he's behind me. Nicole's ordinary words of fear, despair, and terror told to her friends, and concrete descriptions of physical attacks recorded in her diary are being kept from the jury. Insignificant when she was alive because they didn't save her, the victim's words remain insignificant in death, excluded from the trial of her accused murderer, called hearsay and not admissible in a legal system that has consistently protected or ignored the beating and sexual abuse of women by men, especially by husbands. Nicole Brown called a battered women's shelter 5 days before her death. I think that's pretty telling to me. That to me is like, it's just one of those things like, I don't know how people can like deny, knowing the fact that they had this history and the fact that he was stalking her. Yeah, I just don't know how people can like think that. To me, it's just the most likely thing that happened. Could something else have happened? Sure. But like usually it's the most likely thing. The jury will not have to listen, but we must. Evidence of the attacks on her by Simpson that were witnessed in public will be allowed at trial, but most of what a batterer does is in private. The worst beatings, the sustained acts of sadism, have no witnesses. Only she knows. To refuse to listen to Nicole Brown Simpson is to refuse to know. There was a time when the law, including the FBI and social scientists, maintained that wife beating did not exist in the United States. Eventually, the FBI did estimate that a woman is beaten every 15 seconds in the US, and the Justice Department concluded the same in 1984. Such a change happens this way. First, there is a terrible and intimidating silence. It can last centuries. Inside that silence, men have a legal or tacit right to beat their wives. Then, with the support of a strong political movement, victims of the abuse speak out about what has been done to them and by whom. They break the silence. One day, enough victims have spoken, sometimes in words, sometimes by running away or seeking refuge or striking back and killing in self-defense, that they can be counted and studied. Social scientists find a pattern of injury and experts describe it. The words of experts matter. They are listened to respectively and often paid to give evidence in legal cases. Meanwhile, the voice of the victim still has no social standing or legal significance, still has no credibility such that each of us and the law is compelled to help her. We blame her as the batterer did. We ask why she stayed, though we, of course, were not prepared to stand between her and the batterer so that she could leave. And if after she is dead, we tell the police that we heard the accused murderer beat her in 1977 and saw her with black eyes, as Nicole's neighbors did. God. Have you ever seen a woman with like a black eye and you wonder, like, I remember one time like years ago, yeah, it was rough. Like, how are you going to be a man and give a woman a black eye? Like, how? Like, how? How are you going to do that? It's just, but it happens. Anyway, we will not be allowed to testify, which may be the only justice in this, since it has taken us 17 years to bother to speak at all. I had such neighbors. Every battered woman learns early on not to expect help. A battered woman confides in someone when she does to leave a trail. She overcomes her fear of triggering violence in the batterer. If he finds out that she has spoken in order to leave a verbal marker somewhere with someone, she thinks the other person's word will be believed later. Every battered woman faces death more than once. Each time the chance is real. The batterer decides. Eventually, she's fractured inside by the continuing degradation, and her emotional world is a landscape of desperation. Of course, she smiles in public and is a good wife. He insists, and so do we. The desperation is part fear, fear of pain, fear of dying, and part isolation, a brutal aloneness because everything has failed. Every call for help to anyone, every assumption about love, every hope for self-respect, and even a shred of dignity. What dignity is there, after all, in confessing, as Nicole did in her diary, that OJ started beating her on a street in New York in their hotel room, continued to beat me for hours as I kept crawling for the door. He kept hitting her while sexually using her, which is rape, because no meaningful consent is possible or plausible in the context of this violence. Every battered woman's life has in it many rapes like this one. Oh God, Andrea, always with this. Sometimes one complies without the overt violence, but in fear of it, or sometimes one initiates sex to try and stop or head off a beating. Of course, there are also the so-called good times when romance overcomes the memory of violence. Both the violation and the complicity make one deeply ashamed. The shame is corrosive. Whatever the batterer left, it attacks. Why would one tell? How can one face it? Those of us who are not jurors have a moral obligation to listen to Nicole Simpson's words, to how O.J. Simpson locked her in a wine closet after beating her and watched TV while she begged him to let her out, to how in a different hotel room, O.J. threw me against the walls and on the floor, put bruises on my arm and back. The window scared me, thought he'd throw me out. We need to hear how he threw a fit, chased me, grabbed me, threw me into walls, threw all of my clothes out the window into the street 3 floors below, bruised me. We need to hear how he stalked her after their divorce. Everywhere I go, she told a friend, he shows up. I really think he is going to kill me. So she told people that she thought he was going to kill her. We need especially to hear her call to a battered women's shelter 5 days before her murder. In ruling that call inadmissible, Ida said, to the man or woman on the street, the relevance and probative value of such evidence is both obvious and compelling. However, the laws and appellate court decisions that must be applied held otherwise. The man and woman on the street need to hear what was obvious to her, the foreknowledge that death was stalking her. We need to believe Nicole's words to know the meaning of terror. It isn't a movie of the week, and to face the treason we've committed against her life by abandoning her. When I was beaten by a shrewd and dangerous man 25 years ago, I was buried alive in a silence that was unbreachable and unbearable. Imagine Nicole being buried alive, then dead. In noise, our pro-woman, pro-equality noise, our pro-family, pro-law and order noise. For what it's worth, to Nicole, nothing. The shame of battery is all ours. And there she is with their children after the acquittal. Domestic violence, trying to flee. 5 days before Nicole Brown Simpson was murdered on June 12, 1994, she called a battered women's shelter in terror that her ex-husband was going to kill her. The jury was not told this because she couldn't be cross-examined. Guess not. Most of the rest of the evidence of beating and stalking from 1977 to May 1994 was also excluded. O.J. Simpson had stalked her once as represented to the jury, but over at least a 2-year period. Prosecutors had been permitted to introduce 7 incidents of stalking, but they chose to admit only 1 into evidence. The jury, predominantly women, was not responding to the wife abuse evidence, as said observers. In fact, during an interview late last week, one woman juror called the domestic abuse issues a waste of time. Polls during the trial confirmed women were indifferent to the beatings Nicole Simpson endured. As a woman who escaped an assassin husband and is still haunted by fear and flashbacks, I agreed with Deputy Attorney Christopher A. Darden that in 1989, Nicole Simpson knew someday that her husband would kill her. She'd told many people, including her sister Denise, that he'd kill her and get away with it. Damn. In fact, you can take a battered woman's knowledge of her abuser's capacity to inflict harm and evade consequences to the bank. But 5 days before Nicole Simpson was murdered, she knew for sure she would die. How? Why? Something had happened, a confrontation, a threatening phone call, an unwanted visit, an aggressive act from Simpson directed at her. She told no one, because after 17 years of torment, she knew there was no one to tell. The police virtually everywhere ignore assault against women by their male intimates, so that any husband can be a brutal cop with tacit state protection. In Los Angeles, the police visited Nicole Simpson's abuser at home as fans. I mean, that's the thing too, because he was such a celebrity. So you also have to think about like the power that celebrity has over people's minds. And like, whenever I think of this and when I think of the case and, it happened when I was coming of age, I was such a young girl in 1994, 1995, and it was such a spectacle everywhere. It's just kind of like, it was a real miscarriage of justice in a lot of ways. And I think it wasn't just, as a woman, but just on so many levels, like celebrity protected him, and then of course there's the, well, we'll get into that, I think, later. I don't want to get into the race aspect of it, but like it was portrayed as a racial issue. And to me, it's always, and many people like, it felt like it was some kind of win for Black people against, the white supremacist culture that, OJ got off. It was portrayed that way, and people still feel that way. And it's just like, there's a human story here that like transcends that so much. And the fact that his wife was white and Ron was white, it's just like, I call her his wife, his ex-wife. But I mean, you never really stop being a man's wife, do you? I mean, divorce exists, but does it? Anyway. Remember the video showing Simpson after the ballet recital with the Brown family, introduced by the defense to show Simpson's pleasant demeanor? Hours later, Nicole Simpson was dead. In the video, she is far from Simpson, physically as she can manage. He does not nod or gesture to her. He kisses her mother, embraces and kisses her sister, and bear hugs her father. They all reciprocate. She must have been the loneliest woman in the world. What would Nicole Simpson have had to do to be safe? Go underground, change her appearance and identity, get cash without leaving her a trail, take her children and run? All within days of her call to the shelter, she would have to end all communication with family and friends without explanation for years, as well as leave her home and everything familiar. With this abuser's wealth and power, he would have had her hunted down. A dream team of lawyers would have taken her children from her. She would have been the villain, reckless, a slut, reviled for stealing the children of a hero. If his abuse of her is of no consequence now that she's been murdered, how irrelevant would it have been as she, resourceless, tried to make a court and public understand that she needed to run for her life? Nicole Simpson knew she couldn't prevail, and she didn't try. Instead of running, she did what the therapist said. Be firm, draw a line. So she drew the sort of line they meant. He could come to the recital but not sit with her or go to dinner with her family. A line that was no defense against death. Believing he would kill her, she did what most battered women do, kept up the appearance of normality. There was no equal justice for her, no self-defense she felt entitled to. Society had already left her to die. On the same day, the police who beat Rodney G. King were acquitted in Simi Valley. A white husband who had raped, beaten, and tortured his wife, also white, was acquitted of marital rape in South Carolina. He had kept her tied to a bed for hours, her mouth gagged with adhesive tape, and videotaped a half hour of her ordeal, during which he cut her breast with a knife. How the fuck do they acquit someone like that? The juries, which saw the videotape, had 8 women on it. Again, women who don't like other women, women who sell at other women. Asked why they acquitted, they said he needed help. They looked right through the victim, afraid to recognize any part of themselves, shamed by her violation. There were no riots afterward. I know. It's amazing to me. People will riot over like the most criminal, shitty ass men. But something like that happens, this total miscarriage of justice, and what? There's no riots. No one cares. Unbelievable. Excuse my language. This is all very graphic. It kind of puts me in a dark place. Let's take another sip. The governing reality for women of all races is that there is no escape from male violence because it is inside and outside, intimate and predatory. I don't know. I don't agree with that. But for men who are like O.J. Simpson was, you get involved with a man like that, there is not really an escape. I do think that, she didn't have any escape. Like she was very trapped. While race hate has been expressed through forced segregation, woman hate is expressed through forced closeness, which makes punishment swift, easy, and sure. In private, women often empathize with one another across race and class because their experiences with men are so much the same. But in public, including on juries, women rarely dare. For this reason, no matter how many women are beaten, no matter how many football stadiums battered women could fill on any given day, each one is alone. Surrounded by family, friends, and a community of affluent acquaintances, Nicole Simpson was alone. Having turned to police, prosecutors, victims' aid, therapists, and a women's shelter, she was still alone. Ronald L. Goldman may have been the only person in 17 years with the courage to try to intervene physically in an attack on her, and he's dead, killed by the same hand that killed her, an expensively gloved, extra-large hand. Not the glove. The legal system has consoled and protected batterers. When a woman is being beaten, it is the batterer who has to be stopped. As Malcolm X used to say, "Oh, Andrea, by any means necessary." A principle all women had better learn. A woman has a right to her own bed, a home she can't be thrown out of, and for her body not to be ransacked and broken into. She has a right to safe refuge, to expect her family and friends to stop the batterer by law or force before she's dead. She has a constitutional right to a gun and a legal right to kill if she believes she's going to be killed. and a batterer's repeated assaults should lawfully be taken as intent to kill. Everybody's against wife abuse, but who's prepared to stop it? Dang. Okay, thanks for bearing with me while I revisited this harrowing account of the situation of Nicole Brown Simpson's life. I have been in the other, I've been reading this, so I haven't seen any of the chat, but hello to Nicio, Teal K, Christ Conquers. Alrighty then. Arrow 1 is here as well. Hello, Arrow 1. Anybody else here in the chat? Just scrolling through quickly. Anybody else? I don't see anybody else. Anyway, thank you for bearing with me as I revisited that. That was harrowing. I think, and I don't really, some of Andrea's language, I don't agree with, obviously, but it's just a situation, and to think about the fact that OJ's dead and the legacy of his life and all of it. I don't know. It came up for me again. I remember reading this years ago and how sad it made me to think of this woman who was killed and there was never any justice. The real killers were never found, right? And it's so obvious who the killer was, And yeah, it's sad. It's just sad. What a circus show. What a complete media circus event. That's the thing about it too. It's it's such a human story. It could have been handled properly, but it just became this circus, and it became about all these other things that really weren't the heart of the matter, which was jealous, violent, vindictive ex-husband murdering his ex-wife and her friend. But whatever. Whatever. Just interesting to to be a young girl coming of age and witnessing that. And I think we all had kind of different responses to it. Indeed, people do profit on spectacle. It was, give them the old razzle dazzle, I'm getting towards the bottom of my cup and I got some chocolate in there. Got some yummy chocolate in there. I wonder if they had a contentious relationship. I wonder. The men's rights movement is BS. Indeed. Indeed. The whole situation was evil. Indeed as well. I mean, evil, And it's one of those circumstances where it's I know that it's evil. It's evil working through human beings, but I also think evil works through human beings in different ways. And then, when I hear men berate or, put women down, or when I do hear it sometimes, in men that they don't like women. And because of that, and because that is a common thing, it's just, it's one thing to not identify with being a woman or identify with this ridiculous kind of victim mentality of woman as target woman as victim. You know, it's one thing, but then you also, I think, have to have a level of awareness that there is a hatred that people have. And I don't know where the line is sometimes with, you can just call it evil or you can just call it hate. But maybe it's similar to the race thing as well. I think that too. Like, you can know intellectually, and you can even understand like deeply that it's not that the issue is really like evil. You can know it, but then there's also this understanding that you still have to deal with the fact that there's evil in others and that it's going to impact you. I'm figuring it out, y'all. But overcoming, it's not like a one-time event. I think it's like a process. It takes time, and there's layers to it. My rights, shadow bait account. Shadow. I like your glasses. Shadow bait. My rights. No, that's wrong. I can't imagine forcing a child to call someone that isn't their parent their parent. That's messed up. That is messed up. I can't imagine that. I don't know though. I mean, like, I think a woman has a right to remarry and have another husband, but like, yeah, there's like a boundary there. A child shouldn't have to refer to someone that isn't their father as their father. Nor is it appropriate to slander the father or the mother. Alas. Dang, your stepdad was a white knight? Dang. I'm confused, Vasco. I'm often confused by you sometimes, though. I can't always follow your stories. I am lucky in that growing up in a single parent household, my dad did not slander my mother. He didn't he didn't want me to dislike her or think negatively about her. He did tell the truth about her and what she was going through. Um, but he didn't ever disparage her or put her down or say anything about her that was he always talked about her with esteem when he talked about her character, you know. Although I don't know, like, it's difficult, what are the boundaries with that as well? Like, I wonder about that. Like, if I were battered, let's say I was in this situation, I'm trying to intellectually put myself in a hypothetical situation. If I were a woman who'd been battered by my first husband and we'd had a child or children together, and I'd gotten out of that situation and we had established a new life, what would I tell my kids about that situation? What would I tell them about their father? And what would they already know about their father? Because, I've seen that happen too with like situations. I knew a woman who she was battered by her husband, and her eldest child saw it, like he had witnessed it happen multiple times that her father was or that his father was violent, but their younger child didn't have a memory of it. She didn't see it. She didn't remember it. So she had like a very different perspective on her father than the older child, which made it kind of difficult because, you know, the older child knew, he saw, he witnessed it. He was a witness to it and he was afraid of his father. But the younger child, the daughter, wasn't. So it's an interesting situation. I don't know. I have to think, like, what would I say? Like, I'd want to be honest about what happened, but I wouldn't want to, like, I think, yeah, there's this situation where parents often will turn their children away from the other parent, and that's not good. And my mother hasn't really been honest with me about my father. Like, I found out from like one of my aunts that my dad had assaulted my mother, which didn't surprise me because my dad had violent tendencies. Like when she told me, like I wasn't shocked. I wasn't like, I believed her because I'm like, I know my dad. He was violent towards me on multiple occasions. So why wouldn't he be violent towards my mother? Or like, you know, especially my mother. My mother had a lot of hell in her. So like, anyway, interesting to think about. I don't know what the right boundaries are sometimes, and I think every parent makes mistakes. Your felon stop telling on yourself, Fosco. Don't be telling on yourself. As a person of color, I think race is being used as a weapon these days. Generally, it's always been about money, status, and power. I mean, I'd like you to elaborate a little bit. I don't disagree with you. I mean, a lot of people are way too into their race, you know, and they'll put their race and their racial identity above what is right and what is true, you know, and then people take sides. And it's not just people of color that do this, white people do it too. So I don't want to be like only, you know, people who aren't white do this, but it's a mess. Like, imagine putting like, again, but it's the same thing with being a woman. And it's like, I guess for me, I don't ever want to put that before what is right and what is true. And I think a lot of people do that. We take our worldly identity, you know, the vessel that we're in and the characteristics of that vessel, and we put it before what is right, decent, and true. And when we do that, we're doing the devil's work. Well, good evening. What's she making for dinner? I'm going to make my meal soon after I get off this stream. Don't ask. You can't ask somebody what color they are. No. You can't be asking that. What color? Ugh. Okay. I revisited the Android work in peace. I have confronted it. I've seen people be nasty about O.J. Simpson too, like making jokes about him or wishing he was in hell. I don't wish that at all. Like, I hope to God he overcame. Like, I do. I hope to God that he found peace. I don't want, you know, And I called Nick yesterday. I called Nick's stream and I was all like, help. I'm distressed. I don't know. I feel bad. It's kind of like that was kind of a silly call. I don't know if it really, after kind of talking to him, I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have called him. But he is so nice. And, I thought he could help me kind of get some perspective. And I think he did to a certain degree. I did feel more grounded and like, let's think about the spirit. What's the spirit driving me when I like react to these things or when I have like these feelings come up? And like, how do I confront them? And how do I not let that spirit make a home in me too? Not identify with it just because I'm feeling that way. It's like, it isn't me. It's not me. It's just, I'm triggered, and I'm triggered because, I'm having these memories come up and what I know and, and just gotta like, observe it and not identify with it and recognize the spirit. No, I don't think it's right to treat people as property. Like there was that guy that called into the American Anchor Baby show this week and he was like, women are property. My kids are my property. They belong to me. It's just like, it was so gross. It was like, every person in your life is a gift. Like, it's not yours. Everything that you have, children are gifts from God. You have custody of them. You have custody of your wife. She's not your property. And that mentality is the mentality that women are property. Like, that's a very negative mindset to be in. That is a very negative mindset because we're not. Nicole, the mindset that women are property, in many ways, I have no doubt that that's how OJ felt about Nicole. She was his and he could do whatever he wanted with her. He could mistreat her. Because, she was his. Nobody is yours. If you're lucky enough to have someone in your life, if you're lucky enough to have a wife, like that's a gift. If you're lucky enough to have children, that's a gift. It's not yours. And it's from God. It's on loan and you have to give it back one day. Not send it back. Oof. Tomas is orange, just like our the Duke of Orange. Oh, imagine having to debate to make a living. Ooh. How awful. Sexual sin is so backward. I agree. It's so backward. Most people don't even realize sin for what it is, sin. They don't even recognize sexual sin as sin. I had a backup beverage. I was like, I know my little coffee isn't gonna last the whole time. So I got my Olipop. This thing is delicious, okay? Not being paid to advertise. This is purely from the heart. Get you some. These are good. They are delicious. Probiotic soda, 2 grams of sugar, 35 calories, a nice tasty treat. That will not. Olipop. These are good. They're They're a little pricey, but they're worth it. Mm-mm-mm. Love it. And I love root beer, but I don't get a chance to drink root beer too often. Oh, I'm getting texts. Oh, I'm getting a nice text. Hello, my lovely. How have you been? Don't I have nice friends? Isn't that nice? Part of being a girl. Oof. Yeah, as I was saying, I love root beer, but I can't really. I just don't drink it because it's not not very good for you. But these have been a way to get that little root beer, that little feeling of drinking a root beer without all the mess. Yeah, I agree with that. I concur wholeheartedly with that message. What can you do though? Ultimately, it's our character that matters. You can either have a righteous character or wicked one. And I think the more we identify with things that are not us, the more likely we are to fall into wickedness, right? Whether it be race or, our sex or our class or my phone going off, or what nation we were born in or what we have or our abilities or, all of that. It's irrelevant to who we really are. I haven't tried that kombucha, huh? I mean, yeah, this is probiotic. There's like, uh, apparently. But no, I do find kombucha bottles very hard to open. They're not easy for me. Race is not irrelevant. Race is not irrelevant. In what sense? In what sense is it not irrelevant? No, that is true. We are true. Or we are true. This is true. We are conditioned to be divided, and to identify with things that are less relevant because, you know, if we are identifying with the not us, identifying with something that's, irrelevant about us, then, we can easily again fall into wickedness. These are $3 a pop. Mine was about 250. It's worth it. It's worth it. They have some other probiotic sodas on the market that are a bit less, but this one, the good one. This one, the one you want. Get you some. This is good. It's good. I like it. Stacy said, I'm Irish and English, and that is the core to my identity. Really? It's the starting point of who and what I am. Really, you would put that as the starting point of your identity. That's interesting. I mean, why is that for you like the starting point? Like, why is that for you, like, the core? And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just kind of curious, like, why is that the point? Because I was like, in the past, if I were to like think about my identity, and the labels I would put on myself as an identity, right? When I think about my own history, and like I said, again, there came a point where I like just couldn't do it anymore. Like I couldn't do it. And it's like funny though, because sometimes labels are useful. So I don't want to be like, just because my womanness is a fact about me, like it may be relevant to talk about being a woman sometimes. It may be, or it may be relevant to see things, from a female perspective sometimes, or to like talk about that. But then, like, is that the core of who I am? And then I go back to like, well, no, it isn't. It definitely has influenced my experiences of the world, but it isn't at its core who I am. Or like any other thing, like I'm an American, it may be helpful for me sometimes to think of and talk about that experience or to like recognize that experience and that. But then again, it's just, I don't know. It's like, but then there's people who are like way into their national identity, like to the point of, kind of caring too much. Well, okay. Are you sure that you would be a completely different person? I don't know. Like I'm kind of like, well, how much relevance does it have? I mean, I guess it does have some relevance, but then at the end of the day, like, again, what really matters about a person, it's like their character. And there's plenty of Irish and English people who have horrible characters, or no character, or they are characters. Let me see. What do you know? I just found out that the Irish call the American Irish plastic patties. What is that all about? I do not know. I haven't heard that term actually. Um, I think Americans, like I will say this as a person of Irish descent that is an American, we often like have a lot of. I will say, I grew up with identifying with Ireland, with Irish culture, with being Irish. We listened to Irish music in my house growing up. We attended Irish like events as my dad would always notice if somebody was Irish and had some kind of affinity with them, you know. It was just always like kind of in the ether a bit. And I think there's other Americans I know who have Irish descent as well have similar experiences. Like there's a bond to the like homeland, I think. But of course, from what I understand, those of us who go there, like, obviously we don't fit in. We're American, we're not Irish. There's a difference between being like nationalistically Irish and then just being of Irish descent. Most of us who ended up in the US like left Ireland, our ancestors left Ireland for different reasons, either political unrest, um, political subjugation by the English, um, economic reasons. So, or, some were brought over as indentured servants or slaves. So, into the Americas. So, it's like, there's a difference of experience. And then if you grow up in Ireland, obviously you're going to have a completely different cultural experience. So, I think it's probably a cultural thing more than anything else. I have a different cultural experience than like a person from Ireland. It's a different nation with different phenomena happening. It's like any different nation. You have like, I don't know. Did the Dutch think of like people, Americans of Dutch ancestry? Like, do they think of them in any kind of way? I don't know. But I think also the Irish are just generally like down to clown. Irish are, it's part of the culture to kind of like pick on and make fun of people that you're fond of, you know? I mean, yeah, and there's so many different kinds of sexual sin, but the important thing is to recognize and watch it, and to like, again, overcome it. Because I've not been perfect either, I've made the wrong choices in the past. And you just kind of have to learn from them and see the like that the wages of sin is death. And it's like, is it like, oh, I'm gonna die if I do this? Not exactly, but you will become spiritually dead if you like continue to pursue sin. Is this about cultural appropriation? Wear the fucking sombrero. Oh man, my language today. Excuse me. Wear the sombrero. I'm feeling a little too loose. Excuse me. I need to rein it in. I apologize. Y'all, forgive me. Wear the sombrero. Why on earth? I mean, they're cool. Yeah, character is a universal struggle. I mean, and that again is what the meat and bones of her person is. You're beginning to see blue flashes. Wow. Okay, so like, are you seeing them in your mind's eye, or are you seeing them like physically? I mean, I have no doubt that you're kicking up spiritual activity, and you have to understand like it isn't a foolproof thing. But you also have to hear. You have to understand that regardless of what the spirits that you're dealing with in your home can do, like God is in control. God is far more powerful than they are. And it's just, they will do, oftentimes when you stand up to them and you start like, you know, trying to take back your space, that will kick up different activity. So, you're not reading that for them to keep them away. You're reading it to strengthen you spiritually. So regardless of how or what happens, you're going to be okay. But I think blue light isn't necessarily a bad thing, and if you are dealing with like elemental activity, it might be a good thing. I can't really say one way or the other. I'm not in your space. I can't read the energy. So, and I don't feel comfortable like trying to remote view your space. So, like look inside. How do you feel? Is it scare you? Like, or, that the point of reading the psalm is to strengthen you and to put your faith in God. It's not to like, they, they're going to do what they're going to do. The point is that you should be strong inside and courageous and not fearful. It's to drive the fear out of you. But I'm going to read you another scripture just to kind of give you more strength. So give me a second. I'll pull it up here. And I would recommend for your own personal, strengthening that you read this to yourself as well. All right, so this is Isaiah 43. But now thus says the Lord, who created you, O Jacob, and he who formed you, O Israel. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flames scorch you. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. All right, read Isaiah 43. Recite that daily, recite Psalm 91. These will strengthen you and put your faith in the Lord, and they will bless your house. And you will not be afraid, regardless of what these things do. They're not more powerful than God. And they have no power over you, really. They want you to feel that they do. The Quiet Man is great whiskey. Hi, Play It So Fast. Welcome to the chat. You missed our intense reading of an Andrew Dworkin article. No, I mean, people are an amalgamation of many different things. Oh, thank you, Jesse. That's nice of you. Oh, wait, what? I'm sorry. This was what I wanted to click on. You called me your pretty sister. Thank you. How are things in the Philippines? What did I do on St. Patrick's Day? I think I went to church. I wore some green. I went to church. I was going to make a roast, but then I didn't. It was a pretty simple day. Yeah, because it was a Sunday. So yeah, I went to church. Didn't get pinched. I protected myself. Yes, true. The Philippines they are Catholic. I didn't have no corned beef. No. I did get corned beef, I think the next day. Actually, I think I went out and had a Reuben the next day. So I did have some corned beef. I'm going to have some corned beef eventually. I almost picked up a pork roast today to do a pork roast, but ended up being like, I realized I had meat at home that I need to eat. So I've got like all this Italian sausage. So I'm going to do that today. I'm going to cook up the Italian sausage with some raviolis. That's going to be delicious. And then I've got like some beef patties that I purchased. So that kind of needs to get eaten before I go buying a roast. But I found this like massive pork roast that was like $4. I was like, should I get it? Should I get it? But no. I can't eat that much, I have to be careful about, especially with buying meat, because I hate to waste meat. So I just try to get enough, for the week. No, they're like they're not my own ravioli. They're like fresh ravioli, so they're made you know, and pack. They're like freshly made, not frozen, but they need to get cooked today. They're very good. They're these like really good mushroom ravioli. So I figured I will, do the Italian sausage, heat up the ravioli, and then make a cream sauce and have that for my big meal of the day. You just need to know how to eat it properly. You just need to know how to eat it properly. It's not that difficult to eat properly. I am also Italian. Or I should say, I have Italian heritage as well as Irish. Those Italian, once they got to America, those Italian men were eyeing those Irish girls like none other. And my grandma got caught, and my grandpa put 6 babies in her. One of which was my mama, who then had me. So yeah. And he was in love with her. It's so, when I think about their stories, it's like he was in love with her. Like they were a weird like he was, I don't know. I don't want to get into like the details of like my family and their character, but one thing I can say is that my grandpa Fred really did love my grandma Anne. And my grandfather too on my dad's side really loved my grandma. Although my dad's mom had a couple of husbands. My mom's mom only had the one husband, although my grandpa, my mom's dad, did have 2 wives. His first wife, he divorced, and then he met my grandma. So, and my biological grandfather was killed when he was 28 years old while he was working. So that wasn't good. But he and my grandmother had divorced the year before that, which was a big scandal at the time because it was the early 60s in a small rural town. So it wasn't heard of. But yeah, Italians are intense. I will say that when I'm around that part of the family, I'm like, I was grateful. Whenever I'm around my mom's side of the family, like I love them to bits, and I totally I relate to them in a lot of ways because of I have that kind of passion, I would say, that my dad's side didn't really have. And it was difficult for me growing up because, and this is the part of where, when families get split apart, when you grow up, when there's brokenness in the home, I should say, there's this difficulty, I think sometimes with identity, because I didn't fit in with my dad's side very well all the time. In some ways I did. But once I met my mom's side of the family, I totally understood, where these things were coming from in me that didn't really fit in with my dad's side. But I had no real awareness of where it was coming from in me. As a kid, I just felt different. And that was hard. And I feel like, if I'd had my mom and if I'd had my relatives around, if I had some sort of knowledge of them, it would have been easier. I would have understood myself better, maybe. I wouldn't have felt so different because I would have had that perspective. And then I'm a lot like my dad's side too. So when I'm with my mom's side, I see the aspects of me that are more like my dad's side. His people are more reserved and quiet. They're not so boisterous or like expressive. And my expressiveness is more pointed, I would say. Like it comes out in certain respects, but most of the time I'm just kind of like, peaceful and quiet and reserved. And then like my dramatic side will come out in these like at the right time. I guess I have the best of both worlds, really. If I think about it, like I'm like, even though there was, coming from a broken family, like I still have this perspective of like gratitude that I was made the way I was. God knows what He's doing when He brings people together or when He creates a life. Like He can redeem that and make something beautiful out of that. And I see that in myself and like in other people I know. Exactly. I guess I'm just perfect. I'm just right. They're very into being Italian. Yeah, some of them are. I don't like that though. I don't like, don't be too into what you are. Like it's an aspect of you, but it's not you, you know. But then again, it's like our differences as people are interesting. I love learning about other people and their cultures, and I appreciate people's differences as well. Like, so I just try to do the best I can with what I have and not like put those kind of things before like my ultimate identity. But I also like, it's like balance. How do I overcome that? How do I not identify with it too much while also like keeping the aspects of it that are good. You're an evangelical, all right. I don't know. I'm not an evangelical. I'm a Protestant. I will say that I am a Protestant. But I don't know. I got love from my Catholic family. I don't think too much about it. I don't like when people get like too much into that. Like again, it's like I get uncomfortable. Hey, Christ conquerors. Yes, that is important. Like, what did your ancestors eat? It's important to consider because sometimes people make themselves sick because they're eating a diet that's completely not what their ancestors were eating. Hmm. What sect you reppin', fool? I don't know. What sect are you reppin', fool? You missed the good bit, Fred. Where were you? Where were you when I was reading the harrowing life story of Nicole Brown Simpson? You better go back and watch, and you better bring yourself some tissues because it's sad. The Crusades are over. What? The Crusades are over. Oh, yeah, that's right. You a pharaoh. He a pharaoh. Is that Venice Beach? Oh, it is. I love Venice Beach. I love LA. I want to go back. I miss it. It's just such a mood. LA is just, it's got this kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It really is a city of angels. It has that kind of like heightened feeling about it. And I saw some angels when I was there. It was intense, but that's a story for another day. The real crusade was the friends we made along the way. Amen. You love it? Good. Are you from there originally, Frederick, or are you a transplant? Although I have like a friend living there. She's lived there for a while. She's from the East Coast originally, and And I don't know if this is just her, but she seems to be like really negatively impacted by certain aspects of the culture, like the beauty culture. I don't know. Like, and I don't know if that's just her. I'm like, I don't think I would if I were to like relocate there because honestly, I'm getting kind of tired of the cold weather. I really am. I'm like, oh, I need to figure this out because I don't know. Then again, I don't know if I'm like really, I'm not where I want to be financially to be living in LA. I need to figure that out. But NT ways, NT ways. Yeah, I wonder. I was like, I don't think it would impact me the way I've noticed it impacting her. Because I'm like, I think the insecurity in her is maybe just something that she struggles with. Because I don't think about what other people are thinking about me. Most of the time, I'm not in my head about it. I'm not like, is this person judging my F ability or how good looking I am? Or is this person like comparing me to like somebody who's better looking? Like, I just don't think like that because I'm like, especially as a woman, like, I find that really fruitless as well. I have conversations with her pretty regularly where she's just like in her head about this stuff. And I'm like, I don't even think about this stuff like ever. Like, it could never be me. I could never be like sitting there worrying that somebody's going to find me unattractive because I have like a stretch mark or a scar or like I'm not like a size 2 or I'm like 38 years old. Like, none of this ever comes into my mind. But I've noticed like she seems to have gotten like way worse about it since moving there. But I don't know, I'm asking you, you're a man. You're like, you probably don't have the same sort of issues. Amen. Amen. That's so true. Dang, why can't I keep the chat right? Hold up, hold up. Oh, that name is like really familiar. Was she like a goth writer? I feel like a bunch of goth friends were reading her. Do I like Gavin Newsom? I mean, he kind of cute, honestly. Like, I mean, he's not the like most attractive politician out there, but he kind of cute. I don't know about his politics though. I don't think they're very good, but he's kind of cute. Gruesome Newsom is a Zionist. Well, then sign me up. I'm going south. Oh yeah, LA. There's a bunch of Jews in LA. I'll be great there. Okay, now that's probably something happening within you, actually. If you're seeing it in your mind's eye, I mean, they can appear that way, but I think, yeah, you're getting the flash of protection. I think that's more for you. I wouldn't worry about that. I think that's a good sign. Those are the ones you don't need that judge like that. I mean, yeah, she does freak me out with it. Like, I don't even think like that. And then I'm like, and then I'll be like, y'all, I should get into this, but like, we were having a conversation once that she was talking about this guy she started seeing and how he's like really into her and all this stuff. And then she's like, I realized that just because the average guy would think of us, like she lumped me in too, she lumped me in and she said, think of us as a 4. And I was like, you rated me a 4? Like, I was like, what the F? Like, I don't know with her. Like, I don't know if like her insecurity is so bad that she tried to rope me into it. And it's like, I don't have the same insecurity. I'm pretty confident. I don't compare myself to other people this way. I don't even rate myself or other people really. So I'm just like a 4. And I'm like, what is even a 4? Like, and excuse me. Also, I had this like thought like I just responded to her like, I don't care what people who aren't attracted to me think about me. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not attracted to me, you're not attracted to me. If you are attracted to me, that's who my target is. Like, I'm not going to be sitting here worried about like somebody doesn't find me attractive. Like, because that's a waste of time. You're either attracted to someone or you aren't. Why are you like worrying about your rating? Like, I don't know if it's like the internet she's exposed to or if it's just cultural. But then she tells me that she's like talking to women that live in the area and they talk like this. And then I'm just like, is it just who you're talking to and hanging out with? Because LA always seemed like very laid back to me. And yeah, there is like a beauty industry there, but there's a beauty industry everywhere. I don't know. I just like, I don't know why I'm bringing this up exactly, but I've been kind of like, am I going to like become some kind of insecure, like shut in? I can't imagine that. Like, because, I don't know. Anyways, I'm going off about it too much. All right. Yeah. Okay. I know it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Like I don't even think about like people I'm attracted to that way. Like, oh, right. I know. For real. Like for real. I'm like, and then I try to be encouraging her. I'm like, or she's become very obsessed with like youth as well. And I'm just like, I try telling her, I'm like, most men want an age appropriate woman. Like most men prefer to date women their own age. It's like, yeah, there is this phenomenon of men dating younger women, but also you can date an older man. Like you're still young, you're in your 30s. Like, why are you just date a man that's like older than you? It's like fine. I don't know. I need to like I'm trying with her because we've been friends for so long, but I get kind of like these conversations like they mess with my head because I'm just like not because I believe anything she's saying because I know it's all nonsense and like every time I leave the house I'm turning heads still. I still got it. But I don't know. I'm like I'm also just like, what the hell? Like, what's happened? Because she's more attractive than me. She's got a nicer body than me. She's younger than me, and yet she's all like tripping. I don't know. Maybe it's just like COVID and the isolation and who she's kind of around. I just don't want that stuff's like. I don't think it would. I'm too strong mentally for it to affect me. Anyway. Weird though. Yes, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. People tend to be loose. Loose in what way? Morally? Well, I can be superficial too. But superficiality doesn't have to be like one way. I kind of like that about it though. Like I feel like in LA it's you can have more superficial experiences with people and people don't judge it as much. You know what I mean? Like there's a time and place for it and it's okay. Of course you can always go deeper with people if you want to, but not every relationship needs to be deep. And I think I appreciate that as well. Like knowing that some relationships and interactions are not deep is probably helpful. It's Some people take it too seriously. Like, this person is just your barista, okay? Calm down. Yeah, you're right. What do you mean? I'm attractive any city I go in, baby. What you talking about? But yeah, Portland is, people just don't, how do I put this? People here don't make a lot of effort to look good. They don't maximize what they have. So the fact that I know how to construct an outfit and wear makeup is rare in Portland. Okay, like most of the times I go out, people are not, they're wearing their finest hiking gear, you know? And I don't want to say, people here do have style to a certain degree. And there's certain aspects of the style that I like. It's a little bit more granola, it's a little bit more crunchy. I do feel comfortable here in the sense that I can be an individual and I don't stand out too much as an individual. But as a woman, that kind of like takes time and care with constructing myself as a woman. I do stand out in that regard because a lot of women here just don't take the time or effort to look feminine or look their best. She thinks she deserved better. I mean, I don't know. I think she thinks she doesn't deserve very much at all. You know, I think that's the issue with my friend. I think she feels like she's undeserving of basic stuff that really isn't anything. Like, to me, it seems like a very minimum that, you know, a man would be attracted to you and not like a porn addict. But she seems to think that that's like asking for too much because she's in her mid 30s. I don't know. I don't have this kind of problem though, because I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just that, I don't know. I don't have that problem. Like, I don't have that mindset at all. Like, I have this mindset of like abundance and that, you know, if somebody isn't attracted to me, keep it moving. Like, I don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, why worry about something that you can't control? If somebody's not attracted to you, they're not attracted to you. Keep it moving. It doesn't have anything to do with you. I mean, it can if you're not like, if you're not keeping yourself up and doing the best you can with what you have. But like I said, she's got a much nicer body than I do. She's like naturally thin, pretty. I mean, I'm pretty too, but like I don't know. I don't know. I think she just got some. I think she got some. She got some clouds in her head. So I don't know. It's been interesting, kind of interacting with her in recent years. And one of our mutual friends said, I think she's like, I think LA is infecting her. And I was just like, is it LA? Like, I haven't really thought about it. Being a porn addict used to lead to ostracization. Why are women today accepting that? I don't know. I think, I mean, I don't know that all women are. I think a lot of them just don't think that, or they think it's normal. I mean, it is kind of culturally normal. So I think most women who are in kind of the mainstream dominant culture and don't kind of live on the margins and don't really think too deeply about what's going on around them, like, accept it. It couldn't be me. Like, I just, I can't be dealing with that. Like, I can't be dealing with that. It's too much. It's too, like, I can't be dealing with that. It's just the other thing is too, like, when guys use porn, it's like, or if they have a problem with it, especially, like, the warning signs are everywhere. And it's kind of like, it impacts everything. So I think most decent guys, like, even if they have like a phase, let's say, will get out of it because it impacts them negatively, and it does. It impacts them negatively, and they see it and they recognize it and they overcome it just because they don't like what it's doing to them personally. So I don't know. I just be out here being myself, being my sweet little self. Materialistic women always looking over the real men and go for the simps. What? Are you getting looked over, Fred? Are you the real man that's getting getting turned into a side piece? Fred's a side piece. They cheat. They'll use him for what he's got. They'll use him for a piece of action. Poor Fred, he's out here getting used as a stud. You better start simping, Fred. I'm teasing you, Fred. You know I'm teasing you. It's all a good natured joshing. I don't mean nothing by it. A sneaky link. Oh my goodness. I don't mean a thing by it, Fred. I got love for you. Okay. I just had to like an opportunity to like make a joke came up, so I had to take it, and not personal. I'm sure it will be my turn to get razzed at some point later on. So, ugh. Yeah, let's move on. Simps, huh? Simping is an interesting thing, and it's interesting what men get called simps for. Usually being gentlemen. I don't think of a man who's a gentleman as a simp. Nor is it like simpy or beta to like, do the right thing. I've never been married, and so I can't speak to adultery. It's not been something that I've confronted or had to deal with. No, we would never do something like that. We would never do something like that. What are you talking about? I think women want to be desired. I mean, I can relate to that. I do want to be desired, especially like in the context of like a man pursuing me, but I don't think it's always conscious with women either. Remember Joel telling his story of the girl on the run, his running maiden. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know. I mean, like, again, this is to and this is to an example of why, like, again, I think sexual energy needs to kind of be reserved for marriage because, yeah, with this kind of situation where we have so many people having sex out of wedlock, you know, um, we have this situation where it does kind of turn men into simpy betas because, yeah, they are controlled by women and they're being controlled by women who are not their wives. And then, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a delicate balance, isn't it? It really is. And I think this kind of thing is better checked in the context of like a committed marriage that's being conducted in the right way. You know, I think there should be a natural push and pull between the man and the woman, and there should be like, you know, I don't think it's wrong for a woman, a wife, to like want to provoke her husband's affection, you know, or I think that would be normal. It'd be something that I would want in a marriage. Like, I definitely wouldn't want to be in a situation as a wife where like, and I don't think it would be appropriate that it's like it's always just like him initiating. I think too, it's like I don't know. I feel like it's a delicate balance, and yeah, when the sexual energy is too free and loose, then a lot of negative stuff comes out with it. And also like the girl on the run, the girl on Joelle's running path, like that was so embarrassing. That story was so embarrassing and cringe on his side and then on hers as well. But like I just imagine like she must have been so embarrassed, you know, so embarrassed. Oh, bye, Arrow. Have a good evening. Sorry. Yeah. Take care. And Jesse, thank you for the nice compliment. Yeah, I have a funny laugh. I do. People like my laugh, I guess. I never really thought about it, but yeah, people have been commenting on it recently. My goodness. Did you hit her up? I mean, I can't imagine, like, I don't know. I don't do dating websites or that kind of thing. I think it's kind of inappropriate. Um, but, like, I can't imagine. Why do women lead with that? Like, and I've said it before on this channel, like, if you need to, like, if you have to put it all out on display to provoke a man's lust, like you don't have to do that. Like I don't know why women like just put it all out there like that because it's just you don't need to do that. You can just give him a look, you know? You don't have to be all out on display. Like it can be subtle. You don't have to like it can be the way you like interact with him. Like I don't know. I don't know why women like put it all out there like that, because it's just like the more mystery, the better. You know, the more mystery you have, the more his imagination is allowed to run wild. And these women, I don't know what they're doing. Like, come on. The goal is to get him obsessed. Why are you putting it all out like that? Why are you putting it all out like that? The goal is to get his mind thinking and lingering on you. Ladies, what are you doing? But anyway. Actively courting male attention, yeah. I mean, I think a woman should look nice. I think a woman should look nice. And, you know, I think men appreciate seeing women like looking feminine as well. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, there's a time and place for the sexy things, and you know, they come out too much, and it's just it's out of hand. Everything's out of hand. Everything's out of hand. You know, people need to bring their energy back in. You know, a little goes a long way. The more you kind of just let that all out there, the less potent it is. You know what I mean? The less potent it is. Like like the power of sex and sexuality has just been completely removed, and it's sad. It's sad because it's like this powerful creative force in our lives and in the world, and like we've diminished that and cheapened it and made it like completely we've made it completely like just devoid of meaning. And it's not. It's not. It's a great mystery. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Yeah, I've always, I mean, it's always to me been like strange. It's just strange how women get caught up in that. Like, and I like to look good, and I like to look cute, and I like to look sexy, but like you don't have to be on display to look sexy. You know what I mean? Like you should be able to be completely covered, you know? Completely covered, and still like it shouldn't be coming from that at all, you know? And I think people have also forgotten the importance of like attraction isn't just physical, you know? With women, like I think women, they hear men are visual creatures and they take that to the nth degree, and so they present themselves in this pornographic fashion to try and court male attention. But it's like, you know, it's attraction is about more than the physical. Like especially if you want to create like a lasting attraction, it can't just be physical, it has to be mental. But people don't want to get in there. They don't want to do the psychological work, because that's like work. Anyway. And T ways. And T ways. I know. It's like so funny. Like I've had so many younger women too that I'm like that I know or befriend, and like I try to take them under my wing as an older woman, and they're like they think theirs is different. You know what I mean? And I have to like look at them. I'm like, why do you think yours is different than any other woman's? What is so special about what you've got between your legs that other women don't have? Like, but they really think that. They're like, oh yeah. And it's just like, all right, you know, a guy will use you. A man will use you to satisfy his flesh, but you're not going to hook him off of that, you know? And it's unfortunate, and they end up like doing that until they get, I don't want to use the kind of like words that people sometimes use, but like they see it's just it's so frustrating to me because it's like I'm an older woman, I'm giving them advice and they don't listen because they know better. And it's like, man, I wish I had someone when I was your age looking out for me like this. But even when I was your age, like I learned my lessons quick, with men. Like I learned these lessons quick. Like, and I just see them like doing it again and again and again and again and again and again. And I'm like, when are you gonna like wake up that you're not special? Like women aren't different. It's loving that makes you different. And like that's what you want to do. You want to hook a man emotionally, mentally, not physically. It's not possible to hook him physically. Oh, that's sad. You don't know the story about the jogger? He still misses her. I concur. Man, what am I doing here? I'm trying to. Women can be hooked on a man without him ever touching her. I definitely have been. A man can be hooked on a woman without touching her, too. Oh, that's true. Oh my goodness. That's right. Frederick knows. do, 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 do. I'm like trying to remember the song. No, yeah, I'm not ready to break out into that song. Things just ain't the same. Anytime the hunter gets captured by the game. I'm not going to click on that, Frederick. Why'd you use the eggplant emoji? Not the eggplant emoji. Dang. That's true. It's true. Alas, alas. Not the eggplant emoji. Then you end up in Walmart cussing at your kids in public. Oh my goodness. Looking a mess. Oh no. We talked about Walmart recently on one of the streams because I don't even know where a Walmart is. Remember, I was in one of the chats. I can't remember which one recently. And I was like, I don't even know where there's an Arby's around here. Like the last Arby's I know about in the Portland area got closed. I mean, they might have them out in the suburbs, but I don't go to the suburbs. And then, the other thing is like, yeah, Walmart. There was a Walmart on 82nd Avenue, and that would be the one that I would be inclined to go to if I were to go to Walmart, but that closed. And I don't know. I don't even know where, like, maybe I should look it up. Where is the nearest Walmart? I've heard Walmart's been stepping it up with their fashion lately. I saw this one girl get some linen pants from Walmart. I was like, ooh, that's linen. She's wearing linen pants with a stretchy waist. I was like, it's linen pants with a stretchy waist. I want some linen pants with a stretchy waist. Mm-mm. Let's see, where's the nearest Walmart? Oh, they were like, she doesn't even know how to find Arby's. They were like picking on me. I was like, I could find an Arby's if I wanted to, but it's like, do I want to eat at Arby's? Like, Arby's isn't like that exciting. I'm not going to go out of my way to go to Arby's. Okay. Man, okay, there's one in Tigard. Wow, that's the closest one. Tigard, Happy Valley. They've got one of their neighborhood markets out in Milwaukee. I hate that this is the nearest Walmart near me. That's hilarious. Okay, so that one's on 82nd too, but it's out in Happy Valley. Yeah. Where's this one? Sherwood. Wow, Sherwood. Yeah, there's no Walmarts in Portland. They're all out in the suburbs. Beaverton, but that one's a neighborhood one. Gresham. Ugh, Gresham. I ain't going out to Gresham. Oh, this one's a Portland address. Northeast 104th Avenue. No, that's not a Portland address. That is a Vancouver, Washington address. There really are like no Walmart. Wait, this one's on Sandy. Way out in Wood Village. Good God. This is a shame, y'all. What happened to the Walmart? I haven't been to a Walmart in years. They closed the one down that was in town. Alas, it doesn't seem I'll be visiting a Walmart anytime soon because these are all way out of my way. Wow, Christ concert conquers. You really are like painting a story here, playing R&B, trying to rekindle your mess of a life. I do that when I want to rekindle my mess of a life too. Oh, I love me some Ashanti, all obese and whatnot. Lord have mercy. Is this a specific person? This is way too real. This is what happens when you have sex out of wedlock. You're going to end up in Walmart disgracing yourself. Lord have mercy. Catch me pimping in linen and some salamander sandals. Arby's is exciting for blue collar guys. Oh God. I mean, when I was young, I liked Arby's. They had an Arby's in like the Northway Mall in Anchorage that I would go to sometimes. And actually, they had one in the Diamond Center too that I went to. And I liked them because they had those curly fries that were good. I remember their spicy curly fries, and they also had mozzarella sticks. So I liked that. I like the mozzarella sticks because most fast food joints don't have mozzarella sticks. And when I was a teenager, that was exciting. You know, women went from neo soul head wraps to sexy red and Cardi. I like Cardi B. I love Cardi B. I know she's some of her music's a little raunchy, but I like her. You know, some of it's too much for me. Like, but I do like her album. Oh heck, what's it called? is that big album she did. Why can't I remember the name of it? She's in that checker outfit with the yellow wig. It's got um it's got a lot of good songs on it. And I remember listening to that album. I was like, okay, I like her. It's a sweet album. What is it called? Let me look it up right now. I'm gonna feel stupid once I see it. I'm gonna be like, why don't I know this? Invasion of Privacy. That one. I like that album. 2018, Invasion of Privacy. It's got, I like the opening song, Get Up 10. It's very motivating because, life knocks you down, and she's got this line. She's like, that's right. I said, we gonna win. I've been down 9 times, but I get up 10. And I was like, yeah, that's a bit like me. And then it's got the Bodak Yellow song, which is fun. Moneybag is a fun song. Yeah. Bickenhead's a funny song too, although it's a little bit. And then she's got some other songs on here that are a little bit emotional. I like that album. I find it fun. It's kind of one of those albums that you play when you're kind of just like on a road trip with your girls. So you know what I mean? Walmart is Amazon now. Hi, Ron. How you been doing? Yeah, you like my laugh, don't you, Ron? A lot of women like Arby's. I haven't had Arby's in so long. I don't even know. Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. I don't know. It's not something that I would like think though. Like, oh yeah, I got to get to Arby's to get a French dip. I have delis near me that do French dips. Why would I go to an Arby's to get a French dip when I could get one from like a real restaurant nearby? I'd have to go out of my way to go to Arby's, or I could like go in my neighborhood to a real restaurant that has fresh food and like fresh bread and get me a French dip. It doesn't make sense. Why would I go to Arby's? I wouldn't. I do like some, like, we did get a Shake Shack downtown in Portland. So I do get from them sometimes. I like their fries. They've got these like their little cheeseburgers are so good. Like just a plain cheeseburger with they got lettuce, tomato, the nice sauce, and then like cheese, and the bun is really good. I don't know, it's just like perfect. And then the fries are good too. So like I've been liking Shake Shack, but I don't eat a lot of fast food. I don't, I have a lot of different things available to me in my neighborhood. Yes. Okay. Christ Conquers knows about the avocado bacon cheeseburger. I usually don't get that though. I usually just get the regular cheeseburger because it's a lot, and I usually have avocado at home anyway. So, what are you cooking tonight, Ron? Tell us what you're cooking. Yeah, it's a potato roll bun. Forgive Josh, Freddie. They need you up on the panel. Josh thinks we teamed up on him. Oh, Lord. You did call him the C word, Tar Baby Yoda. You called him a cock. Why do they got Fred blocked? Okay, Fred is here. Okay, tell me the gossip. What happened? Tell me. I know I shouldn't listen. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. No, you called him a C word, a cuck. I was like, Lord, I don't need to know about all this. Like, I barely know these people. I've just started watching Josh's streams, and like, I can only watch Like in the evening, those like Friday night ones are crazy. Although like Matthew went on and so did Nada. Like I was like, it was kind of cool to see Nada. And like last night it was funny because Nada was at this car show with his like 18-year-old Ukrainian friend. And he put him on camera, and the kid was cute, you know. So immediately I was like, oh, he's kind of cute. And then immediately Flora's like, hey, Terry's up in your area. Like, try to. I'm like, I am 20 years older than him. Stop trying to hook me up with the 20-year-old, somebody I'm 20 years older than. I'm not the one for him. I'm not. Like, I can't handle an 18-year-old. Don't try to hook me up with an 18-year-old. I'm in the chat like, no, I just said he was cute. I didn't say I'm interested in him. But then I was like looking at him. I was like, I could probably obey him though. I was like, I don't want to date a man that I'm 20 years older than, at least not at this age. You know, maybe in another 20 years, you know, after my first husband dies, then I'll consider like getting myself a man 20 years younger than me. But right now, I'm not down for that, like that life, because I've just seen women my age get into that and it doesn't ever work out well. He's always like sprung on his mommy. Like it's just not gonna work. I'm sheesh. I'm I am joking. I am joking. I hope you realize I'm being facetious. Yeah, I can't like just, you know. I mean, you know, it's not like I don't think that I do get younger men interested in me a lot. It's not uncommon. Like I'm a pretty girl and they notice in person, you know, but it's just fraught with too many disasters. And, you know, it's hard finding a man my own age that's, you know, ready to be in a relationship with me. So I can't imagine. I wouldn't completely discount a younger man though, like completely. You know, if a guy who was a little bit younger than me had all of his ducks in a row and, you know, wanted to give me a good life, you know, then I would consider him. Well, I would be foolish not to, I think. But, you know, I'm open to what the universe has to give me, but the universe, excuse me. Again, you know, I'm open to experience, you know, I'm open to the right thing because you don't know sometimes God is preparing somebody for you who isn't what you expect, you know, or what you think is right. But, you know, I've seen that happen. You know, I've seen men who are like a bit younger than their wives, like be really good husbands. And if he's a real man, I have no problem like falling in line. I look more pretty when I'm smiling. I don't think Flora is jealous of me. Why would she be jealous of me in the slightest? I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not interested in Josh. Definitely not. You're gonna have to cut them dreads off. Apart from that, I just don't think we would vibe. I don't think like, you know, it takes a certain kind of man to handle the kind of woman I am. And I feel like with him, it would be like we would butt heads a lot and it wouldn't be productive. You know what I mean? Like, he seems to me to be the kind of man who's just like very, in terms of dealing with women, like, I don't like to be told what to do. I like to be guided. You know what I mean? But I don't like to be bossed around. You know what I mean? Like, be gentle with me. I'm delicate. You've been working from 7 a.m. to 7:30. Well, that's admirable. I'm glad to hear that. Hmm. Bury my mug in them dreads. Shut up. That's dreads are dreadful. Dreads are dreadful. Like, I don't know. It's not right. I mean, it's a man with longer hair than me. Oh, I forgot you suggested a song. A deeper meaning for us. You still hopeful about us, Ron? You still dreaming of us? You working hard for me, Ron? Where's what where are my presents? Latinay and Callie. Oh, okay. You're talking about something that happened with her. She showed up recently. I hadn't seen her in a while. So it was interesting to see her. I don't know her very well. Like, I think I subscribed to her channel though, but she hasn't been going live or something. Oh my goodness, the drama, the drama. You've trolled him for 3 years? That's commitment, Har Baby Yoda. I hope you'll troll me that long. I hope that we have staying power too. Will you troll me? Will you continue to troll me? I need you. I need that little bit of I need that little bit of zhuzh. Mm, okay. The other thing about like, I don't know, the panel thing, like, it seems interesting, but I can't get on Discord. You know what I mean? Like, I just am superstitious about it. I don't like, I mean, there's certain, like, Discord doesn't sound like a good thing to be involved in. And everybody I know who's been on Discord always has like serious Discord drama. She claimed I was stalking and harassing her. No, I think she does have some issues. Like, I don't know her that well, but I remember like hearing her call in and I like got the impression that she's been through some stuff. So like, yeah, she might be someone to handle with a little bit more care, just because, yeah, I got the impression listening to her, I was like, I heard her woundedness, I just say that. Like, I heard the fact that she is like kind of wounded. So, we all have things to overcome. So I'm not judging her about that at all. Like, I just kind of recognized it in her and I was like, she's clearly been through some things and she's still working on that. I'm always creating something special in my mind. But my pen isn't working. I'm trying to get trying to add to this little thing here. But the ink is not flowing. I'll try it here, see if I can get it to, there we go. I need to figure out something to do with that sticker. I think I ordered a sweatshirt from like the band website. So my favorite band, just a little plug right now, is the band Suede. So I ordered a sweatshirt from their website, and they sent like this free sticker which has a lot of their album covers on it. You know, it's like their name, but there's different album covers making up the name. But I haven't put it on anything, and I have no idea what I would put it on. Like, I'm not big on stickers. They had a spat. That's too bad. Not sure what you're cooking tonight? Ron, you always know what you're going to eat. She thinks I'm funny. Got a crush and I didn't riz her. You know I don't simp. Is that what, does she have a spat with Nick? How do you have a spat with Nick? He's like the nicest guy ever. I can't imagine Nick ever saying anything to me where I'm going to like take it the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like, even if I don't agree with him, I can't imagine taking anything he said the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't. Not chicken wings. You know how I feel about chicken wings. Yuck. Her and Amanda blocked me on your channel, Freddie. Never let people block your subscribers. Can you control whether people block your subscribers? Are you talking about like your mods? Were they mods on your channel? See, this is why I don't mod people. First off, I don't have YouTube open, so I can't. Secondly, like, I mean, I do have a couple mods, but they're like serious trolls with like, so I have Doll Snatch modded, and yeah, I have like one of my other friends modded, but she doesn't come on very often. So your girl's cooking tacos. I already told you about my meal today. It's going to be Italian sausage and ravioli and mushroom ravioli. It's going to be nice. We'll see. Oh, no, that's what I'm going to cook. I do want to cook that. I have other stuff I could eat, but I want to prepare that because I do need to cook those ravioli. I don't want them to linger too much longer. Tar baby. How do I go live on YouTube without I use StreamYard. So it's just automatic. StreamYard will open it up. Coffee and listening to you talk is an easy combo. Fred. I'm sorry, I can't keep all of you up. This is Ron. Sorry, Ron. I'm like reading everyone's name at the same time. It was a bit about Gavin Newsom being clumsy. Okay, yeah, I remember that. I heard her call in about that, but was she really upset about that? Yeah, that's when I kind of had the impression that she was kind of projecting her own trauma onto the situation. And I called in after that, actually. That was the first time I called Nick. I called in after that because I was like recognizing that situation. People like, this is the thing, when people don't deal with their own trauma and they, you know, when people don't deal with their own stuff, they'll see it out in the world, you know? Like, and it's very easy for people to see things that aren't happening if their mind is always kind of stuck in that like victim thing where, you know, the world is full of predators and everyone's like, there are a lot of people walking around with that imprint on them, you know, and the demons that live in them. tell them that. And then so when they look out into the world and they see situations, they really they see things that aren't there sometimes because it's their own devils, it's their own demons that are coming out. And I kind of just recognized that when I was hearing her talk, because I was like, she sounds like um, she sounds like she's personally like very impacted by that. And then it kind of, yeah, it reminded me like too with Me Too, all these women got triggered by the Me Too thing. And like I said, I have no doubt all the women I knew personally who were posting stuff like saying Me Too, like I have no doubt that they were sincere and that they'd been through things, because like I've been through things as a woman. Other women I know have been through things like, and but it was just weird to see like, your old coworkers or whatever being like, I was R-worded, and it's like, dang, it is a big issue. It is a big issue. Um, but because of that, I feel like that all of these women, they're angry that they don't have any justice for like the things that they've been through. And so they look out into the world and it's so easy to manipulate them by like showing them a clip of something, and they're like triggered because they're like, oh, he touched that kid. And like, it's like that wasn't really what was happening. I don't know. So yeah, it got me kind of thinking about that. And like the fact is a lot of women are imprinted and programmed to respond irrationally when these things come up, and they sometimes see things that aren't really happening, and it's unfortunate, and it's like, again, they haven't really dealt with the fact that they're unhappy with the fact that nothing happened to the guys that did whatever to them, and it's like, but that's the thing with Me Too, like all the normal women that were coming out being like Me Too, like all the average women, none of them were naming who did what to her, them. Nobody was like, oh yeah, this guy, did this. It was all just Me Too. Like, but they still kept everything private. So it wasn't like a reckoning. It was just like used. So all that anger and fury got pushed on, certain guys who are like public and powerful, taken off of their pedestals. But like the rapist next door wasn't handled. Stupid. It's just, things are the same as they ever were. That's true too. A lot of people just, will. I appreciated Nick's perspective on that. I did. Rose wasn't the only one hating on me. I barely know Rose. Rose started something with me in the chat on the Fallen State too. She started something with me, and I was like, "Don't start with me. I'll pull your hair." Is Rose even a woman? Like, I don't know. Who is Rose? I'm not really familiar with Rose. Rose wasn't the only one hating either. Whatever. It is good to learn from. Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's all like, say her name. Oh, Marjorie, what happened to you? Yeah, I'm not that bad, and I'm likely trolling. Now Rose wants to marry Nick. Who don't want to marry Nick? Let's be real. Her profile, I know, it's a bit too perfect. I was looking at it, I was like, is this real? It's a snake pit. I don't pay attention to nobody. That's right, Fred. Well, pay attention to me. Mm. It was just irritating when people like ask you questions and then like, I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I need to figure out how to deal with someone in the same pit. But I think I'm just going to end up blocking her and letting it go. Is Jalen? That'd be great. I hope Jalen uses the Rose profile to catfish a bunch of guys. That would be great. That would be awesome. That would be funny. Jalen looks pretty tough. I'm in my C-Cell. Who is Scion? I think Scion has me blocked. I've never seen any of her comments. What is a C-Cell Scion era? Can you explain what you mean by that, Tomas? An ambulance? No, it's the cops. Nice. Nice, the cops. The cops doing their thing. Go get them. Dang. Mr. Mad is knocking. Are you making that up? I saw Mr. Mad last night. He's knocking someone's boots. He doesn't look capable. I'm not trying to be rude. Blocking any and everyone just because. Now I have reasons. I have reasons to want to block. I don't block people without cause. I have reasons. I have very serious reasons. He's trying. Okay, he's trying. You like what I said there, Tar Baby? Well, he was complaining about his gout last night. He was like, I got gout. I'm like, you have gout? He was in my chat like recently calling me privileged and shit because I have standards, and like he was calling me privileged while also denigrating my work because I work at a computer and not like doing hard physical labor. So apparently that's not work. And then yeah, he also I don't know. Like I can take I have a thick skin. I don't really care, but like I was just like he's calling me privileged and he's like, most people don't live that way, Terry. And I'm like, and so what? Like, and I'm like, I'm middle class, okay? Like, I'm middle class. I want a normal middle class life. I'm not some like hyper privileged gal. I don't expect the moon and the stars. I'm not like an extreme spender or shopper or like whatever. I just expect a nice, normal middle class life. But he was all like, you're so privileged and stuff. So I'm just kind of like, and then he gets on last night and he's talking about his gout. And I'm like, I'm sorry, gout is what kings get. Like, gout is for people who are hella privileged. What kind of, like, you know how privileged you have to be to have gout? I was like, are you kidding me right now? You got gout of all things. He's like, I got gout. I'm like, you calling me privileged when you have gout? Gout is what like lords used to get. It's not, gout is from an excess of good living, right? It was funny. I just thought I'm joshing too. I'm teasing too. But I was just like, oh hell no, this guy's got gout. I'm gonna get him with this. Come at me again. I'm gonna use this. Love everyone agape. Ron's a lover, not a fighter. Really? So why are he calling me privileged? I don't have $300 worth of steaks. I've got I've got a couple of beef patties and some Italian sausage in my fridge and some chicken, but the chicken is for the cat. He was so happy today because, like, okay, I was telling y'all, I went to the coffee shop, got my little coffee, which has been drank at this point, and then I went to the grocery store and they did have the rotisserie chicken that's all pulled apart. So I got that, brought it home, and let me tell you, Mr. Kitty was very happy. He was very happy. He was a happy boy, let me tell you, because it's been like over a week since he's had the chicken. I was very disappointed when I did my grocery order and they were out of chicken and he didn't get no chicken. And he was more disappointed. So he was a very happy boy today when he got all that chicken. Anyways. Yes. Ron, don't be dirty. We don't need to hear about your half Italian sausage. Yes, the black cat. What other cat? My sweet boy. Where are you, Bubba G? He's on behind me. He might be sleeping on my bed. He sometimes does that when he's napping. Or he likes to sleep in the bathroom. You know where I found him sleeping the other day? He was in the washing machine. I had like started putting clothes in the washing machine, but not ran it because it wasn't a full load. I just put some dirty clothes in there, because I was going to get a load started later. But yeah, I go and I go into the bathroom because that's where the washing machine is. And lo and behold, who sticks his little head out of the washing machine and goes, eh. And I'm like, what are you doing in the washing machine? He'd been sleeping. He also gets in the dryer. If I leave the dryer open, oh my goodness. Okay. But let me tell you, he does not love when the washing machine is running. He loses his mind because it rattles, the vibrations rattle, so he gets all upset. The black cat wants a bleach bath. He does not want a bleach bath. I don't use bleach. I don't have enough white clothing to justify having bleach. I probably should have some bleach actually in the house, but I don't use it in my clothing. I know he gets so scared. He's like, he'll run around crying because the it's loud and it's shaking the house and he's upset. And it's just like, what? I'm like, calm down. You beat Josh at chess? Did OJ confess? You missed it. I was talking about Nicole Brown Simpson earlier. What a mess. So this stream has had an interesting life and it's winding down. I'll be going probably another 10 minutes and then say sayonara. Yeah, he's a poor baby. My poor baby. Because he's like a little baby. He gets so upset. He's like he's just crying and upset and like running around just upset. It's like, and I try to comfort him, but he's just like, you know what cats are like, you love cats. I love cats too. She didn't have a tough life. Who didn't have a tough life? Oh, hell no. Don't start with me, Fred. She had a very tough life. And she had no way of escaping it. They are amazing. They are amazing. They're sweet. They're funny. I like that my cat's bossy. I like that he bosses me around. He tells me when to get up. He's demanding. He tells me when I've been talking for too long. Get a Doberman. I That's true. They get a Doberman. Okay, so yeah, I Dobermans are the little wiener dogs, right? I wanted to get a Pomeranian for a long time. I do like, but I did look after my neighbor's dog, and I kind of realized that I don't really have. It's going to be too much work for me to handle having a dog. I can't physically handle having a dog. So, it's hard enough taking care of the cat as it is. I don't take care of him to the level that I feel he deserves, and he's very spoiled. So, um, I don't think having a dog would be a good thing. I don't think I would be able to take care of a dog in the way that a dog deserves. Just physically speaking, it's too much work. Um, so, if I had like outdoor space, a yard, then it might be easier because I could just let it out to, go pee and that kind of thing. But I don't have that ability living, in a concrete environment. Gotta get up and get dressed and take the dog downstairs and out. It's just, and then physically, I love animals, but I don't have it in me to take care of a dog right now. And my cat would be pissed. And he's my boy, so I can't. My husband, get up, feed me. I mean, I don't know. He might think that. He might think he's my husband. I don't know. Nero, do you think you're my husband or am I your mama? I think I'm his mama. I don't think he's my husband. Let's be real here though. Like he's my kitty. So it's a whole different kind of relationship. I don't think we should compare it to human relationships exactly. He's my kitty. I am his human slave. It is what it is. And he's not happy with the service around here. And he's spoiled, and that it is what it is. Wait till a guy comes into the picture. What if a guy comes into the picture? Well, we're gonna have to have separate bedrooms because Nero sleeps with me. So there's that. The cat is of course he's possessive. I'm his human. I am his human. He's gonna be possessive. The cat's sleeping with me. That ain't gonna end. I can't sleep next to someone anyway. Like the cat gets irritated with me enough because I move around so much because of the pain that I'm in at night. So like I would need my own bed regardless. But yeah, the cat, he gonna be sleeping with me. Period. That's his spot. He sleeps in the dominant spot too. The dominant partner always sleeps on the outside, and that's where he sleeps. I've tried to move him to the other side, but he don't. He won't do it. He's like, no, I'm in charge. I'm on the outside. He's kind of protective. It's sweet. He is protective of me in that way. It's a great. I mean, I'm very fond of my relationship with my cat. He's taught me a lot about myself. I didn't. I he's shot like I used to be way worse. This cat has like done work on me. Like I used to be way worse, and he's really showed me myself as a person. Like how reactive I could be and just how mean I could be. Because I remember I used to be like kind of mean to him, like not like physically or anything like that, but like not considering him. And he just kind of it was interesting. I think the pandemic and the being quarantined together and like starting to work from home, it did this amazing thing in our relationship where we learned how to like communicate and like he he learned how to like communicate with me way more. And he would just I realized that like through a lot of our relationship I had been like frustrated with him, and he was just trying to communicate with me. He was just trying to ask me things, ask me for things. And I'd been kind of like a nasty bitch, and he was showing me that about myself. He was showing me that like I had work to do. So I'm really grateful for the relationship I've had with him over the years. Like, and I've had him since he was a baby. So we've really grown together. Yeah, and she was getting stalked and threatened and attacked, and her husband ended up killing her. Her ex-husband ended up killing her. So what the hell does that matter? What does money matter? 10K a month. What does that matter when you're living in fear of your ex-husband? Don't, Fred. Don't. Do not. And he also beat the hell out of her and like knocked her around and treated her like crap. Like what? So what? So that's a man is supposed to pay for his wife. Freddie's idol is OJ. Freddie, get a better idol. You called in, you were like, that was a win for blacks. I was like, Fred, shut up. Hey, Floor. Floor's here. I was mentioning earlier how you were trying to hook me up with that cute Ukrainian guy, and I was like, no. Because he's 20 years younger than me. You're like, Terry's available? I'm like, no. I'm not available for an 18-year-old. You was already there. Fred, you just don't know what you're talking about. She called a battered women's shelter 5 days before she was killed, and he was stalking her. She told all of her relatives she was afraid of him. What are you talking about? You can't live in fear with 10K a month. I mean, what the hell? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Come on. Level with me, Fred. Let's human to human, okay? Like, come on. Why do you think money is like some kind of. She ended up getting murdered brutally. What are you talking about? Are you denying the fact that she was murdered brutally? Are you denying the fact that he beat the living hell out of her and stalked her and made her life hell for 17 years? Come on. We would be cute together. I mean, we probably, make a couple of cute babies before my time is up. Yeah, I'm 38 years old. I was like, don't try to hook me up with this kid. Nada was like, hell no, because Nada knows how old I am. Josh has never simped at me. Stop being rude. like, shut up. She was spending the money frivolously. Oh my God. What do you think, Freddie? hmm I know. I'm gonna get me a Ukrainian. Get me a young Ukrainian. Put him to work around here. I don't know. I've had that with like there was a Russian guy that came into my church last year. He came in recently, like for the week before Easter and then the week of. The year, like last year when I met him, he didn't speak any English. I only speak a little bit of Russian, so I could only communicate with him a little bit. I couldn't really help him out. I could only kind of like exchange pleasantries with him. So yeah, he came. But he was like, he had one of those translator apps and was like, he was like, oh, I'll come help you. Like you don't have to pay me. I'll come do whatever you need me to do. And I was like, dude, you are not coming in my house. I don't know you. I don't know you from Adam. And I know what you want. You know what I mean? Like, but I remember like at one point he put his hand up to his face. He went like this and he touched his face and he looked at me and he said, woman. He was like, woman. I was like, okay, wow, that was intense. I've never had somebody flirt with me that hard. Like, dang. So I remembered him, and I prayed for him a couple of times because I knew he was new to the country and he was needing work and stuff. So I did keep him in my prayers a number of times. But yeah, he showed up recently, like I said, the week before Easter and the week of Easter at church. And then he was speaking a lot more English. So I was able to communicate with him more. And he's doing good. I remembered his name. I was like, yo, Emil, good to see you. I prayed for you. So he seems to be doing a lot better. He's got a stable place and money coming in. So, good for him. I know the Russians are so serious. I don't know. I used to have a thing for Russians when I was like a kid, like growing up in Alaska. There's a lot of Russians around, and the Russian guys were always like kind of exotic. I would always be like, oh, I'm going to get me a Russian one day. But now I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know. My dad was like, don't marry a Russian. They beat their women. And I was like, Dad, don't be racist. And he's like, it's true. I got that effect on these lonely days. I do. I mean, I'm a little angel. They see me and I'm like so frail and so beautiful. And they're just like, they don't know what to do. They're like, woman, woman. Oh goodness. Yeah, Flora, tell Josh to unblock Tar Baby Yoda. Yeah, Tomas, and that was I was like, why did Tar Baby Yoda get blocked? Because he was just like picking on Tomas. It was funny, but whatever. I don't know. I don't know the history. It ain't my business. You like your man to be from American soil? I mean, a lot of the Russians in Alaska are from American soil. They're just, culturally kind of Russian. Um, I don't know. I don't really. Whatever. I'm open. I'm open to whatever. Whoever. It doesn't really matter. But I don't want to get beaten, so I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't get a Russian because if that's true, like I don't want to get beaten. Like I'm not gonna do that, I can't live that Nicole Brown Simpson life. I just can't. I can't be getting knocked around and stuff. I'm too delicate as it is. Also, what kind of psychopath would hit me like in the first place? Like I can't even imagine it. Like I just try to think of it like yeah, like yeah, you can see Russia from Alaska. That's true. That is hilarious. What mean I mean not wanting to get beat. I don't want to get beat. Don't beat me. I can't be getting beat. Don't be I'm delicate. I'm frail. Like I'm very weak anyway. Like I can't defend myself. I'm defenseless. Like who's gonna hit me? You really gonna hit me, little old me? I'm a cripple for God's sakes. I'm in a wheelchair. Who's gonna be hitting me? Like what the hell's wrong with you? Like calm yourself down. You hitting me? I mean, I got a mouth. I talk back, but I'm not. I don't deserve to get hit. Mm-mm. It ain't right. It would not be right. I'd be like, "What are you doing? Like hitting me?" And then if we have kids, you gonna hit them too? Mm-mm. Definitely not. I love each trills. I love each trills. EJ Trills is my friend. I couldn't whoop anyone in a fight. Like they'd have to be weaker than me, and they don't really make them weaker than me. I mean, they do, but man, that would be horrible. I get hurt hitting someone. You know what I mean? Like it hurts me to exert that kind of force. I have a strong imagination. There was this boy in middle school who I was like so in love with. He was like 8 feet tall and like pale white, blonde, piercing blue eyes, Russian. He had this very thick accent. His name was Ilya. What was it? What was his last name? Ilya. I don't know. His name was Ilya. And I thought he was the finest thing I'd ever seen. And I only had one class with him. It was art class. And I remember he like talked to me once and he was asking me to do spells for him. He's like, "So you're a witch?" He had a thick accent too. And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Will you do spell for me?" What did he, is that what she said? Is that what she said? I didn't see that. That's fucking savage. Pardon my language. Tomas disavows. She's chills as a. We were just. That was just. We were just playing. We were just playing. That was. That's water under the bridge. I know if we met in person, we'd get on. We'd have a good time. We'd be having a little tea party. Me and EJ Trills. She wasn't. We'd have a little tea party. We'd have a cute little tea party with scones and like lots of little sandwiches with the crust cut off, you know? We'd be having a good time. Yeah. Tomas, though, I have to address Tomas's disappointment. He asked me to do spells for. I did do spells for him. I disavow doing spells for your Russian crush in 8th grade, though. She would probably try to grape you, damn it. Well, hopefully she'd let me finish my tea first. She likes masculine as I didn't even know EJ Trills was a girl. Is EJ Trills a girl? Most black women do what? Act? Or do you mean like act masculine or try to rape? Never had a black woman try to rape me. Tar Baby Yoda, what am I going to do with you? What is this conversation? Probably another Jalen account. That'd be great if it's Jalen. Does Jalen have a lot of stock accounts? Yes, I'm racist, Terry. Maybe the real racists were the friends we made along the way. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. Okay. See, Floor knows what I'm talking about. You go to high tea, Floor, EJ Trills, and me all going out to high tea, getting our little tiers of sandwiches and treats with our teas. I'm racist for not submitting to fat black radical lesbians. You know, there was many times in my life where I did. Now I just stay away from that mess. For the most part, I mean, I don't know. It's not really an issue where I live as such. We know. Oh, we know. I've had quite a life. What can I say? My life has been a tapestry. Oh my. What a tapestry I have woven. I was telling you all about the lesbian concert I went to the other night. There weren't too many radical fat black lesbians in the audience, though. There were a couple of black lesbians, but they weren't fat. You guys acted like you like blacks, and your city is still suffering. Yeah, I don't know what got into Portlanders because they don't. Portlanders are very racist. Like the white people here are very like uncomfortable with black people. Let's just say like they get unnerved and uncomfortable. They don't know how to deal with it, but they'll still be virtue signaling though to the nth degree. Oh my goodness. But God forbid you have to work with one of them. Then it's like, you know, but most of the cities around the country are suffering. I don't think that my city was somehow specifically impacted. And I think I have a lot of civic pride, as you know. So I'll say that with a grain of salt. What about Hispanics? Do you mean where I live, or what are you asking about Hispanics? Are you asking like how people perceive Hispanics here, or like what it's like for them? Because I would say Portland is very white. It's a very, very white place. In terms of like a city of its size, it's the whitest city in the country in terms of the demographics. It has a very low population of color. There are Hispanics. They often live in like the more, there's more rural parts of Oregon that have higher Hispanic populations. But then again, you know, I've had friends in the city that are Hispanic. As long as you like are, you know, married to a white man and integrate, you'll be fine. They were LARPing like they gave an F about George Floyd. They were LARPing their butts off. It was pretty interesting. You know what though? Like it's interesting. Did I tell y'all about the mural they have of George Floyd outside the like Gucci store that got smashed up? Because like once all the rioting started, like obviously the first night there was like pandemonium and chaos and like windows smashed throughout like the whole downtown area, but they hit up the mall and obviously were looting the uh, designer stores. So it was just interesting to me that like they put up, obviously after that happened, a bunch of buildings got boarded up. What a mess. I hate thinking about that time. It's such a mess. Yeah, it's still been an issue. It's still been a serious issue. Like the vandalism and the criminality and just, although to be honest, like I will say like Portland is still by and large decent in terms of like we still the homeless people are still really polite and that kind of thing. I don't know, but it is interesting to me like every time I see that mural like outside the Gucci store, I'm always just like, why? I mean, I think it just happens naturally. You know, people kind of all end up moving to the same area because you already know people, and it's about support networks. It really depends. I mean, it really depends. It depends on, what their cultural background is. You know, there's a lot of like, if you move here as an individual, like if you move here as an individual, then you kind of have more options open to you, I think. Because I do know a number of like Hispanic people who have, moved here from like California mainly, and they just moved on their own and they're pretty normally integrated. But like, if you have a family and that kind of thing, you want a bit more community, I think. So and it also depends on like what industry you're working in. So like if you're working in an agricultural industry, which is pretty common, you're gonna, kind of be more apt to live rurally. So, the NT ways. Wit people are kind. Yeah, some of them. A lot of them aren't. But I don't know. I Where I grew up, it was a lot more integrated. So it was interesting moving here and seeing like the level of segregation that exists racially, because it just wasn't an experience that I had in Anchorage. It was a lot more integrated, and I think that's just kind of the circumstance. I think because it's a lot of people are there for, they go up there to work, and it's kind of like random, so I think it's more. So yeah, kind of moving here, I didn't really see any black people until like a month or so after I moved here. I ended up catching this bus I hadn't caught before because I was going to see about. I was looking for like a roommate. I was looking to rent like a room at the time because I got a job and I was subletting a place, but I needed to find my own place. So I was looking for like a roommate situation. I went up to check out this apartment. And honestly, it wasn't that far from where I'd been living, but it was just a place I hadn't really gone before. And like the whole bus was black. And I was like, and I hadn't really seen any black people. Up until that point, like I was just kind of like, oh, they all live in the same neighborhood. It was quite a learning experience for me. We all forgive Freddie. Freddie, I don't know where you at right now, but we forgive you. All right, y'all. It's been fun, but I gotta go. I've been on long enough, and I got some food to cook and some cleaning to do, which I am not looking forward to, but it must get done. So, thank you all for being here and chatting with me and working things out with me because I had some overcoming to do. So, I appreciate all of your participation. Shout out to everybody who showed up and made the conversation lively and fun today. All right. I wish you all well. Okay. Thanks, Tar Baby Yoda. I got some lovely praise. Thank you. All right. I'll see y'all another time. Okay. Peace out.